What's up, guys? Rick from DFS On Demand here with a preview for the Masters. That is right. It's finally here. The first major of the season. I'm wearing my Masters green. I am ready to rock and roll. This is the now 1 year anniversary of, I think, how a lot of you guys found this channel, which is I took down a GPP on DraftKings. The lineup that I used, fortunately or unfortunately, would have won any tournament. It was the optimal lineup. I did not have it in the Millie Maker, but we did okay. And I used my core cascading method, which is something that comes up from time to time in GPPs and in 20 maxes. So this is kind of a sweet one. I'm ready to get back to the Masters. The pricing is very, very soft. Should be a lot of fun. We're going to talk a lot about this. Couple of housekeeping notes. I was also on with Pat Mayo on the Pat Mayo Experience this week. It's on the DraftKings channel. Don't leave this video and go run over there, but watch that one afterwards if you haven't watched it yet. We go really in depth on some of the players. It's just going to be more content. This is still important to watch. And then finally, I'm recording this. I have not seen how the Valero Texas Open is going to play out. In fact, I don't know if you can see it. I've got it on the screen over here. So I'm going to be making some assumptions with basically 3 or 3.5 rounds of information or data. Keep that in mind. Additionally, since the week hasn't ended, I have not updated all of the tools on the website yet. The Masters cheat sheet is up there. But what you're going to kind of see is probably some of the behind the scenes things working out of my own database. It'll look very much like my website, but it will not be exactly that. So when the Valero Texas Open is over, I will publish everything. Okay, I think that's all I have to talk about. Let's get into the Masters. All right, let's start here with the cheat sheet. And if you're watching the video, you'll notice this cheat sheet looks a little bit different than what I normally put up on the website. And you're absolutely right. This is a new format I'm testing out that I'm going to probably put on the site. I think it's a much more comprehensive and easier way to look at what you need to see for this week. Basically, I think I made the mistake of, I wanted to show recent history and recent form and have it be, worldwide events, which I'll still do. But you lost the ease of being able to see course history, recent form, kind of all in the same line. So this is kind of me beta testing this. I'll have this out as soon as possible, hopefully this week. But this is the field for the Masters. And we've got 6 guys over $10,000, starting with Rory McIlroy, 11.6, DJ, 11.3, Justin Rose, 10.8, Tiger at 10.5, JT at 10.2, and Jon Rahm at 10,000 even. I have a lot of thoughts about this. First of all, it's the Masters. You're getting the cream of the crop. Every player that you'd want to roster is here, and the guys over $10,000 are over $10,000 for a reason. It's one of these situations where we're just going to have to split hairs and decide who we want to play. For me personally, I will lean on probably 3 of these guys the most. Rory off the bat, 11.6. There is just really no reason to not play him. The only things that you can knock and say, okay, he's 11,600, so he's very expensive, and you could say he's going to be very popular. Which we will wait to see how this week shakes out to see how popular Rory is actually going to be. With a major, it's very common for players to roster a very balanced lineup or a more balanced lineup than usual because you have really good names at 7,500, 8,500, 9,500, etc. Right? The pricing's very soft. With that being said, I wonder how many owners might start their lineups with Ricky Fowler at 97 and just play a very, very balanced lineup. And all of these six guys are not as highly owned as we think, or especially Rory, because if you are going to spend up, you can get DJ for 11.3, you can get Justin Rose, you can literally get anyone cheaper. So I wonder how this is going to impact some of the builds. But anyway, that's the only reason you could argue not playing Rory, who is going for the career Grand Slam. His stats are beyond good. So if we just sort this by strokes gained tee to green, he is averaging 2.4 strokes gained per round from tee to green. That is about 0.4 of a stroke better than the guy in second place, who is Hideki Matsuyama. If you use that same distance from Rory to Hideki to go from Hideki to it would go down to basically Gary Woodland, who is 6th on this list. So the gap between 1 and 2, Rory and Hideki, is the difference between Hideki and number 6, Gary Woodland. That's how good Rory has been since the start of the calendar year, January 1st. He's lapping the field in some of these stat categories. Not to mention that he's, coming off the win at the Players' Championship. He played well enough at the Masters. He got out of his pod, ran into Tiger for whatever reason. Doesn't seem to play well when Tiger's around, so hopefully we don't get a final. I guess hopefully we do get a final pairing on Sunday where those two guys are in the final group. That would be amazing. I'd be running around like a madman, but that's probably the only thing that's going to stop Rory at this point. He's got 5 straight top 10s here at Augusta. It's just immaculate history. There's really only kind of narrative or potentially game theory reasons to fade Rory, but I'm going to find a lot of reasons to roster him. All right, so moving along here, and this is not really a knock on DJ. I just don't think I'm going to end up rostering a lot of him. It's one of these situations where, again, we're splitting hairs. I'd rather pay 11.6 for Rory, or I'd rather pay 10.8 for Justin Rose. That's just kind of the way my rosters are going to be created here. Justin Rose, what I love is a couple of things. I think he has, 8 straight top 25s at Augusta. A bunch of top 10s, 2 runner-up finishes. The guy knows how to play around Augusta National, and he makes a ton of birdies. So let's talk about this. Remember the cut rules here at the Masters. There are going to be I think it's either 84 or 85 players in the field, depending on how this Valero Texas Open finishes. If someone who's not already qualified wins, they'll get in. So I think like max, we're going to be at 85. The top 50 and ties are going to get through the cut line, but then also anyone within 10 shots. So if the cut is, for example, 5 under, anyone who is 5 over or better is going to make the cut here. Okay, so it's the 10-shot rule. So that could be the entire field. Now, if we scroll down to the bottom of this, the player pool, you have a lot of these guys that get in for various reasons. Past champions, Sandy Lyle, Mike Weir, Larry Mize, Ian Woosman, okay? Guys that have qualified through some other championship qualification, whether it's something on, I think like the Asia Pacific champion gets an invite. Like there's just guys down here that are not class PGA golfers ever or not anymore, right? I mean, some of these guys are just teeing it up every year because they're past Masters champions. So you can almost write off probably 10 or 15 guys from the bottom of this list that are pretty unlikely to make the cut, okay? Certainly not impossible. We've seen, Bernhard Langer get through, very solid player, things like that. But there's a lot of guys here that are just not going to make the cut. So when you look at this, you're probably going to have 75, 80, maybe 85% of the players get through the cut. I'm treating this as if it is a no-cut event. 6 of 6s are going to be plentiful this week. If you don't get, if you miss out on, if you play DJ or someone like this and they miss the cut, you're in big trouble. Just because, and you can see, all these guys are always making the cut. There's just a handful, 1 year from each one of these top guys, something went wrong. Other than that, they're almost perfect. So I want 4 rounds of golfers who are going to make birdies or better. We've seen this in no-cut events where someone makes the cut on the number and then goes out and top 10s it. Hideki did it a couple of weeks ago. He made the cut on the number and darn near won the thing. So keep that in mind. So that's the long-winded version of saying Justin Rose, 28% birdie or better is one of the top numbers in this field. Give him enough holes, give him enough cracks at it. He's going to make a ton of birdies. I love that for DraftKings scoring. And then the final guy that fits that is the guy who actually leads this field in birdie or better, which is Justin Thomas, who is the third and final guy that I'll be playing out of the 10,000 range. Certainly long enough off the tee, makes the most birdies in the field. Has improved his finish each and every year at Augusta, 39th, 22nd, 17th in the last 3 years, trending in the right direction. I am concerned. We talked about this a little bit with Pat Mayo. Something happened I think it was at the Honda, right, where JT swung that 8-iron, hit the tree in front of him, was shaking his wrist, and honestly, that was a big moment for him. Hasn't really played as well since then. He's still playing. I mean, you can see 30th at the Honda, 35th at the Players' Championship. Certainly nothing to sneeze at. But there is some level of concern there, but I think he's going to be very, very overlooked. I think maybe all 6 of these or all 5 of these other guys are going to be at a higher rate of ownership than Justin Thomas is. I think it's a really good spot to get a leverage position. Speaking of the key stats for this week, I'll show you this and then we'll kind of move back to the cheat sheet where I have the information. So if you remember, this is what am I trying to say? A regression model, excuse me. A regression model where we looked at the last 12 years of PGA stats and the last 12 years of DraftKings scoring by course. And we looked to see which season-long PGA Tour stats translated well and found success at each individual course. Which one has the highest correlation? The Masters is great because Augusta it's always the same course, and it's almost always in the same exact conditions outside of weather, right? I mean, the course always plays the same, literally like the same pin positions, all that good stuff. So this is a really good course for a model like this. So with that being said, the stats that correlate the most most of them are not surprising. The highest correlated stats are SDFA, scoring average, birdie or better, birdie average, and strokes gained total. All stats that basically just say the best players do better here. Really, that's like all they say. But when you look at the ranked stats, which is really where I tend to go here, one really pops off the screen, and it's driving distance. Driving distance here is the #1 ranked stat. So if I can say that another way, I can say it like this: driving distance is more important to DraftKings scoring at Augusta than any other course on the PGA Tour. That's what this model says, and it makes sense because it's a very long course. It plays longer than it actually says on the scorecard. It's very difficult to get around here if you're not smashing it all over the place. So let's go back to the cheat sheet because I have driving distance on there. We can talk through who fits this. So let's look at driving distance here. And Bubba Watson currently leads this field in driving distance at 313 yards. And big shout out to Joe Pita here. If you don't follow Joe on Twitter, he's excellent. He used to write a ton about the betting of baseball, has gotten more into golf. He released a book a few weeks ago where he actually went back and calculated the strokes gained stats for last year's Masters. And Bubba off the tee just absolutely laps the field, which is no surprise. He's long enough. The course fits him. He knows it very well. He's had success here. So if you're looking for that type of player, Bubba at 8,800 is certainly going to be popular, but he's certainly a pretty good value. Rory is second, no surprise. Patrick Cantlay at 7,700, I think is a lot sneakier than, he's sneaky long, right? He hits at 310 yards only behind, he's behind Rory here, directly behind Rory. I don't think people realize how far he hits it. Remember, this is only going to be the 3rd time he's ever played Augusta. He played it like 7 years ago as an amateur, missed the cut last year, but we know how hard it is. So the more experience you get, the more important it is here at Augusta. Cantlay another year under his belt might be pretty interesting. Gary Woodland to me is one of the biggest surprises here. Gary Woodland has the distance. We know he's great off the tee. He makes a ton of birdies. Has missed the cut at Augusta 4 out of the last 5 times he's teed it up, and the last 3 times he's played here. That's shocking to me. And I don't know how to really compute that moving forward. The math doesn't really add up for me, but I'll probably sprinkle a little Gary Woodland just because on paper he would be such a good fit here. I'm shocked he hasn't had any good success. I'm not going to go through each one of these, but I think there's a couple of interesting ones I want to point out here. Lucas Beauregard is 6th or 7th on this list of driving distance. I suspected he would have been pretty popular and still might be pretty popular for the Masters this week. Only $6,400 after beating Tiger at the match play. Absolutely ejected himself from the Valero Texas Open. I think he was 9 over, missed the cut. Brutal. I'm not going to be rostering him. I think it's a little bit of fool's gold to go out and get him. He's going to be a first-timer at Augusta. If he proves me wrong, that's great. He proves me wrong, but not a spot that I'm going to be playing him. Additionally, I think a couple other surprise names here. I think Hideki being like 9th or 10th on this list is pretty surprising. I don't think people really realize that. Hideki's had 4 straight top 20s at Augusta. And then Matt Wallace. Matt Wallace, a guy who's gaining a lot more traction DFS-wise, but primarily plays everything on the Euro Tour. Only $7,100, very long off the tee. He's longer than Phil, Aaron Wise, and DJ. Based on these measured rounds. He obviously doesn't have as many measured rounds as some of these other guys. My concern with him, outside of being a first-timer, is he doesn't make a ton of birdies. But if this tournament were to get really tough, if the conditions were to get really tough, and it's only 4 or 5 under par that win this thing, someone like Matt Wallace is in play over someone who, can get absolutely scorching hot and might go win this thing at 14, 15 under. So that's kind of my thought process on driving distance. Let's go back to salary ranges and see if we can find some more players that might be interesting as well. All right, this range right here, basically 85 to 90, let's call it 92. Tommy Fleetwood down to Francesco Molinari, or Xander Schauffele, I should say. Really, really interesting, and it's probably where the $1 million will be won, because there's going to be so many options to roster these guys. Jordan Spieth. When I spoke with Pat a couple of days ago, we had not seen the Valero Texas Open yet, and Jordan Spieth was ranked literally 6th worst in this field in terms of tee to green since January 1st. The only guys who were worse were like Mike Weir, like guys that honestly are just in this field because they're past champions, or Michael Kim, who won one event to get in and has done nothing on the tour since. He was literally bottom of the barrel here. Now, he went out and had a pretty good Valero Texas Open. I don't know how he's going to finish up here. But to me, I think I'm going to stay away. And I was probably going to stay away again before this week at the Valero, but I think a good showing beforehand drives this ownership up even more. As you get a bunch of casual fans coming in to play the Masters, and DraftKings is doing a lot of promoting of it, it just seems like his ownership is going to be too inflated for what he's done this year. Okay, he put at least 3 good rounds together. I don't know if he can do 4 more because he hasn't shown it to me yet this year. So I think this Valero Texas Open only increases his ownership and only increases the odds that I'm going to be fading him. Couple of guys that I think are really good leverage plays out of this area. Jason Day. Jason Day, no worse than 28th in his last 6 trips to Augusta. He has a 2nd place back in 2011, a 3rd in 2013. Fits the mold of someone who would play well here, and he just gets written off because of, oh my gosh, he withdrew and blew up my lineups. I'm never playing him again. Okay, he was like, 5% owned at the Players, went out and top 10'd it. I mean, the guy is an elite player. To get any of these guys at single-digit ownerships is going to be very, very important this week, and Day might be that guy. But someone that really stands out is Xander Schauffele here. So $8,500. He is 10th in this field in strokes gained tee to green, but he's priced as the 17th most expensive golfer. If we look back at his form coming in, outside of the miscut at the Players, which is usually a tournament that we write off and say, okay, that can happen to anybody. 14th at the WGC Mexico, 15th at the Genesis, 10th at the Waste Management. He won back in January at the Tournament of Champions. The guy shows up, can play in big field events or in big events, and this is now the 2nd time he's seen Augusta. Made the cut last year, finished 50th, nothing to write home about. But experience matters here. Every chance you see it, you learn something, you pick it up. Xander, I'm hoping, can kind of take that next step in, start number 2 at Augusta and really make a run at this thing. And I'll just run through a few more here very quickly, and we'll go to the strokes gain tool for a second. Adam Scott, I think, is interesting. Past champion, playing well, finished 12th at the Players' Championship, obviously has the chops to play here, but I think he gets forgotten because we haven't seen him since the Players' Championship, right? Took the match play off, did not play. So it's not like he didn't get out of his pod or didn't play well. He just didn't play. So he's a little bit forgotten. I think that's kind of interesting. Then you go down to under 8,000, and this is where there's so much value, right? Plug Matt Kuchar in at $7,900. Everyone's going to do it. No surprise there. But then you get this right here, like Sergio at 77, Stenson at 76, Even, Gary Woodland, Poulter, guys that we've talked about for the last couple of weeks, all living in this price range. I'm probably most interested. I like Sergio here, no doubt about it. Playing the best he has probably played since he won the Masters 2 years ago. Stenson's kind of the guy for me. When you look more long-term, his stats on paper don't look great, but he's played, and we also don't have the shot link data for the match play, in which he had a round, I forget who he played, but he absolutely dismantled somebody. Who was it? Furyk? I think it had to be Furyk at the match play. It looked reminiscent of that Open Championship where him and Phil went back and forth and they just lapped the field, right? He was firing darts. He was playing incredibly well. Has great, he's finished fifth at Augusta last year. To me, he's probably the most mispriced guy at 7,600, because if he would have been playing this well for even a few more weeks, I think he would have been a lot more expensive. And then we'll just go down a little bit further because I think we have to talk about guys like, I mentioned Matt Wallace. Keegan is here at 7,000. I probably won't get there. I will definitely not get to Charley Hoffman. And I mentioned this before the Valero Texas Open started. And of course, now he's the co-leader with 9 holes to play. But Charley, to me, okay. I always think back to, I think it was 2015. He was in the final group at Augusta, or the second to last group. He went out and hit one of the most nervous golf shots I've ever seen a guy hit. Just completely folded underneath the pressure. And quite honestly, he just hasn't played well. He has not, I looked this up, he has not had a top 10 in 20 months. It was like August 2017 was his last top 10. Now, he's going to crank one out right here at the Valero Texas Open. So I think a lot of people are going to jump on him for the immediate short term. But I will not be one of them. I'll take more of that last 20 months of long-term garbage over maybe he can parlay. And again, if he burns me, he burns me. Other guys down here at 67, 68, you have Kevin Kisner, who I assumed was probably going to be one of the most popular players in the field until Siwoo Kim went out and almost won this Valero Texas Open. Now, he's given it back a little bit here in the final round, so it doesn't look like he's going to win it, barring anything too outrageous, but he's still going to have a really good finish, and he's only going to be $6,700, and he has the around the green game that we like. Augusta National, very tricky greens, very tricky around the greens. You get runoffs, you get these guys have to be good around the greens. It's one of the most correlated stats. So with that being said, let's jump over to those strokes gained and see who fits the mold here. All right, so when we look at strokes gained total, it's pretty clear, there's not really anybody that jumps out, right? I mean, everyone's pretty priced how they should be, quite honestly. It's a pretty fair pricing compared to strokes gained total. But when you go to tee to green, you get a little bit more. So Rory, significantly far and away the best in the field in terms of strokes gained tee to green. JT is second here. And the fact that he is priced as the 5th most expensive golfer, really, really interesting. That's where I'm finding a lot of this value for me personally to get onto JT. Hideki even further down. Hideki and JT are basically the same player tee to green this year, and Hideki is priced at $8,700, and Justin Thomas is priced at $10,200. So what's that? $1,500. Other guys that, again, I'm shocked that Gary Woodland hasn't had great success here because he leads those $7,500 guys with, excellent strokes gain numbers, tee to green. Kuchar's here, Cantlay's here, Sergio's here, Keegan's here, Keith Mitchell's here. Those are the guys that are really jumping out. Let's look at putting, and you'll notice this is actually a really good graph. We never see this. There are so many elite putters in this field, as you'd expect, right? Here's Jason Day and Fowler and Eddie Pepperell and Cam Smith, right? This is such a great little chart here. But the one that I really want to show you is this one. It's around the green. Going to be critically important this week. Tiger Woods jumps out. Tiger has been excellent around the greens. He's gaining about 2 strokes. That's not around. That's per tournament, I believe. 2 strokes per tournament. And really just I talk about this all the time. I have the same problems with Tiger I have every week. He's more popular than he should be, and he's priced more than he should be. It doesn't mean he's going to win or he can't win. It just means that I don't find value in him. When he wins, I'm not going to have him. or have much of him just because there's not enough value there for me. So I'm a little bit concerned he's not long enough anymore. If this is a tournament that finishes, 14, 15 under as the winner, Tiger probably doesn't win it. I hope I'm wrong. Oh my God, I would love it if Sunday evening Tiger is putting on the green jacket. I'd love nothing more than that. I just don't think I'm going to win any money if he does. So I'm kind of able to separate the two. But if the number is closer to like 5 under, I think he's much more in play, which is why I like Tiger more at like the U.S. Open. I want to see him grind it out to a win. I think that better fits his 2019 skill set. Justin Thomas again pops off. So the more I talk about this, the more I go through it, I'm going to have to convince myself to have more Justin Thomas here. Great numbers around the green, much better than his peers who are even more expensive than he is. And then the other guys that show up down at the bottom, Louis Oosthuizen, Webb Simpson, who I actually thought Webb was a pretty good play a couple days ago. He might be someone I take a look at as I start to create some lineups. Terrell Hatton, Brandt Snedeker, Matt Wallace shows up here, Stuart Sink, Siwoo Kim. So those are the guys that around the green, such an important skill set. They are the best in their respective price ranges. So that's it for the Masters preview. I'm absolutely stoked about it. I'm sure you are too. I'm dying to see who's going to put the green jacket on Sunday evening, and I want to know who you think it's going to be. I told Pat Mayo, and I stand by this, I think it's going to be Justin Thomas. Who do you think will be wearing the green jacket come Sunday evening? Tweet me. It's at DFS On Demand, or leave a comment below. I will talk to you guys soon. Best of luck, and happy Masters Week.